Well, well, well. The nightmare known as the Cowboys 2024 season is finally over. And the loss to the Commanders, to me, has been similar to the Mike McCarthy tenure. You play a good game, you're in the game, you're winning the game, and then you get right up until the end, and you lose. And I mean, you lose in some of the worst ways. 12-win seasons, only one playoff win. And so now the new drama begins. Mike McCarthy's contract is up. Where will he be? Well, there is one name that came up last week, and Jerry Jones was asked a question about this particular coach. And I have to admit, the answer that Jerry Jones gave and how he gave the answer absolutely shocked me. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this video at the end, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can help grow this channel and push us into that YouTube algorithm. Now let's talk facts. Man, it is not many times that Jerry Jones is asked a question and it seems like he's speechless. I mean, it is not many times. I mean, most of the times with Jerry Jones, I mean, even stuff, sometimes you go, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. Jerry Jones is still entertaining. Well, I'm about to let you hear on 105.3 The Fan. Jerry is about to get asked a question about a certain coach being the coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And the way Jerry answers this question, it is shocking. Let's roll it.
There are reports that Jon Gruden is looking to throw his hat back in the ring, the head coaching ring. What are your thoughts on Jon Gruden?
I don't have. I just don't have any comment there at all.
Okay.
And seriously, one way or the other, John is a friend, and but let's leave it at that.
Jerry Jones was speechless. How many times does Jerry Jones not have a comment about something that somebody has asked him as it applies to the Dallas Cowboys? Why would he not answer a question about Jon Gruden? Or do we know why he didn't want to answer a question about Jon Gruden? Because we know that Jon Gruden is currently still trying to sue Roger Goodell and the NFL. And this explains more than likely why Jerry Jones, I mean, you have to understand the reason why Jerry Jones doesn't have a comment. Let's look at this article, and then I'm going to show you why Jerry Jones had to be very careful in what he said. Over on Athlon Sports, Tony Fisher is reporting Cowboys hiring Jon Gruden rumor answered cryptically by Jerry Jones. That's an understatement. And we know with Jerry Jones, all publicity is good publicity. But in this case, Jerry doesn't want to touch the whole thing with Jon Gruden with a 10-foot pole. And so when he's asked about Jon Gruden, I mean, Jerry, we know in most instances, Jerry is going to say things that people will continue to talk about, but not this. Tony Fisher writes, he says that soap opera will continue next week when the Joneses will make decisions on Mike McCarthy's job future here. And if you believe the leaks created by McCarthy's agent Don Yee, maybe Big Mike will make his own decision to take a job elsewhere. Says in the end, if there is a vacancy, Fish wonders about the media outlets suddenly pushing the idea that Jon Gruden, who last coached in the NFL in 2021, and why they are making Cowboys connections. I will say this, Fish says, Gruden has a resume. And he's a sort of disciplined guy like Mike Vrabel, who I would champion. But if he's hot, why hasn't he coached for 3 years? Why did he take a job with Barstool Sports? And what about the racist and sexist stuff? Come on, man. We know why Jon Gruden has not taken the job. And it's very simple. It's because, depending upon what you believe, all I can say is there's something strange going on. That in 2021, an email scandal arose, and of all the thousands of emails they went through, they found that Jon Gruden had made some offensive phrases or used some offensive phrases in those emails. It says it was reported in 2021 by the Wall Street Journal that Gruden, in addition to sending out homophobic and misogynistic messages, also used racist language in an email about then union head DeMaurice Smith. What Gruden wrote about Smith, who is black, he says dumb Boris Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires. Gruden apologized and insisted he's not racist, but he quit the Raiders shortly thereafter. Come on. Is that really what happened? That is not what happened. They ran Jon Gruden away from the Raiders, and their hands was forced to push Jon Gruden away from the Raiders. That's what wound up happening. And I remember in this whole fiasco, even with what they reported, there were many players came out and said that Jon Gruden was not racist. And sometimes people have to understand, it's not excusable in a sense, but people have to understand these football players, these old school football players, they use certain types of language. They say things in certain types of ways where the average or the outside person may call it racist. No, it's just language that they're using that they probably shouldn't have been using to describe certain situations, certain players, certain things. And so, of course, Jon Gruden filed a lawsuit against the league. Jon Gruden filed a lawsuit against the league. And so when we look at this on Sportico, I want you to look at this. See, Gruden's case against the NFL, Goodell given one more play, because what they were trying to do is that they've been trying to get Jon Gruden's case thrown out. They're trying to get Jon Gruden's case thrown out, and they were almost successful, but it says former Las Vegas Raiders head coach Jon Gruden beat the odds Thursday when the Supreme Court of Nevada granted his petition for an en banc reconsideration of his case accusing NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell or someone on the commissioner's behalf of tortuously interfering with his Raiders contract. Yeah, he didn't walk away. It says the ruling was captured in a brief statement without any reasoning or explanation, other than an indication that at least 2 of the court's 7 justices voted to compel reconsideration. The reconsideration means the 7 justices will review Gruden's and the NFL's dueling arguments over whether, in 2022, Clark County, Nevada District Court Judge Nancy Alf correctly denied the NFL's motion to dismiss the case to arbitration. So, the NFL wants to take Jon Gruden's case to NFL or take it to arbitration, where they know that it will be a better chance that they will easily be able to defeat Jon Gruden. It says in May, a panel of 3 justices, Chief Justice Alyssa Kaddish, Justice Christina Pickering, and Justice Linda Marie Bell, sided 2-1 with the NFL that offered. Factually, the case concerns the leaking of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic emails, Gruden wrote when he was an ESPN employee a decade ago. See, he had to take this case to the Supreme Court because they sided with the NFL. Copies of the emails were published in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and triggered a media firestorm. Gruden resigned in disgrace. Okay, so he resigned. Let's be real. They pushed him out. He resigned. He was pushed out. I mean, the media frenzy around this thing was crazy. It says factually, the case concerns the leaking of racist, misogynistic, and homophobic emails Gruden wrote when he was an ESPN employee a decade ago. Wasn't working for the NFL. Copies of the emails were published in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and triggered a media firestorm. Gruden resigned in disgrace, forfeiting about $60 million on his contract, losing endorsement deals, and seeing his reputation as a one-time Super Bowl winning coach badly tarnished. Now 61, Gruden is out of the NFL. He's an advisor to the Seaman Milano of the European League of Football. And so what's happening here, while the case has garnered headlines because it involves Gruden, Goodell, ESPN, and bigoted emails, the legal controversy is currently about a more technical and less sensational topic. Here it is. The enforceability of arbitration language Gruden contractually agreed or contractually accepted in his employment contract. It says that if the language is enforced, Gruden's case is tossed to a confidential arbitration process overseen by Goodell. This is what he doesn't want and most likely never heard from again. If the language is not enforced, the case moves forward, though could still fall short later. So, Jon Gruden is fighting for this case, not to go into NFL arbitration, being overseen by one Roger Goodell, because he knows he can't win. But I also think Jon Gruden knows if he can get this to court, he can expose a whole lot of things about not only Roger Goodell, but he could expose some things about the NFL. As previously explained, it says petitions for en banc reconsiderations are usually denied by the court and are considered disfavored. The underlying policy is that the petitioner here, Jon Gruden, already had their chance before the court and laws. But if at least two of the justices vote for a reconsideration, it is granted. And it says that Adam Hosmer and Henner and other attorneys representing Gruden offered several arguments using reconsideration. They insisted the league had lacked evidence proving that Goodell, as required in arbitration language, actually found the emails to amount to conduct detrimental. They also noted Gruden was in contract with the Raiders, not the NFL, meaning any arbitration language subject to an employment contract ought to be invocable by the Raiders and not the NFL. I'm telling you that they're saying he resigned. But anybody who remembers this, they forced him out. They forced Davis to force him out. He didn't just quit. No, they forced him out. It was a combination of things. And so I think he's pointing out in this is not even something that the Raiders wanted to do. That maybe even they were forced to do it by Roger Goodell. They also described the enforcement of arbitration language found in league documents, which Gruden obviously never negotiated, as the kind of procedural incontrovertibility that should trouble all Americans. Goodell being able to serve as the arbitrator for a case in which he is the defendant was also portrayed as illogical. Yeah. The case is against you and you're the arbitrator? I'm sure you're not going to decide this case in your own favor. Surely no one's going to do that. And so the argument is being made. Long story short, I'll put this I'll put these two stories in the description. I'll put the links to these two stories in the description. But the long story short is they don't want this to go into they don't want some of the things that Goodell could pull out in an actual court of law. They don't want those things exposed. And I'm saying all that to say, you could tell Jerry Jones, and they've all probably been briefed on this, but Jerry Jones understands something. Do not. As much as Jerry liked drama, Jerry knew, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Did you notice that Jerry said, John's my friend. Let me play both sides of the fence. And I don't want to make it seem mean or bad, but let me not get myself in the NFL in trouble. I have no comments on it. Jon Gruden's a friend, but notice what he didn't say. Did you notice he didn't say anything about Jon Gruden being a great coach, Super Bowl winning coach? Jon Gruden would be a good coach for any team in the league. No, because Jon Gruden has some of the same accolades as one Mike McCarthy. And if you ask people before this incident came up, and you could probably ask some players now, even with this incident, they would take Jon Chucky Gruden over Mike McCarthy any day. And I think many people on this team, or many of the fan base, they would probably take Jon Gruden too. I'm not sure what people have read so much into the emails, but I do remember when it happened, there were players, they were vouching for Jon Gruden because they didn't see him as a bad person. I just thought, wow. I was shocked at the answer gave about Jon Gruden. It's not even a point in asking what y'all want Jon Gruden. I mean, you can tell me in the comments. But it is obvious Jon Gruden will not be a coach candidate for the Dallas Cowboys. If you like this, again, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.